Just give him a Ferrari, or perhaps give him a Bugatti. Look, I'm quite certain that this particular song, as it stands at the moment, is going to cause us some problems with the FA, the Premier League, and the Kick It Out campaign. Which, incidentally, if you didn't already know, there are people out there who can actually report you as an individual for supporting the song, thereby putting your season ticket or match ticket at stake and bringing you further trouble in terms of civil or criminal proceedings in a court of law. This song is going to cause us a lot of trouble if we do not very quickly adjust the lyrics, specifically of the last line. And in this video I want to just discuss a few other points about why it's probably not appropriate. And we'll start with appropriacy. Is it appropriate in a ground where there are a lot of children and a lot of families? And obviously if they hear these words, can you imagine the awkward position that you're putting parents in, having to explain those words to specifically a 3, 4, 5-year-old or other child of slightly older age? It's definitely a difficult position that you're putting parents in. On top of that, Leeds United has an illustrious history, as you know, and our first black player was a South African player called Jerry Francis, who was born in 1933. He signed for Leeds United and played for us as an amateur footballer before being given a professional contract in 1957. My point is that people back then had a lot more decorum and respect for other people than they do now. Why don't we try and keep that going? Why don't we try and respect Willy Gnonto a little bit more? I also want to bring up another point which this leads into, that imagine that you're a professional footballer and fans start singing the opposite way about your manhood, about you. How would you feel? Or an opposition starts singing about one of your other favourite Leeds United players, insulting them and the size of their genitalia. How would that make you feel? Are we going to get into this tit-for-tat battle? Is it really appropriate? Is it really showing respect? And I always say, treat other people how you wish to be treated. And I think we have to be a little bit more delicate with Willy Gnonto. This isn't about left or right, whether it's racism or fun. It should be about respect. And I certainly don't think that Willy Gnonto is approving of the chant, especially when the club have already released an official statement asking for such respect to be shown to Willy Gnonto. And all we have to do as Leeds fans is get that last line adjusted a little bit so that it is a little bit more appropriate, and it wouldn't be counted as being racist, which is obviously the worst possible charge that can be levelled at a football club in modern times. To be clear, that racism is actually the unfair treatment of people who belong to a different race, violent behaviour towards them. For example, you could have a victim of racism, an ugly outbreak of racism, an urgent need to address institutional racism within an organisation. It's important to identify the root causes of racism that are systemic in the city. Also, you may want to talk about structurers or casual racism, which is what I think this particular song at the moment falls under. So there we have it, just a few arguments about why we should adjust the final line of this Willy Gnonto song. Do we want to drag down the reputation of our club to be alongside some of the clubs in Italian football or Spanish football, where racism is just all over the place and the authorities are having a terrible time dealing with it? And if we think it's bad in Britain, it's much, much worse over there on the continent and in other countries around the world. Let's start treating Willy Gnonto with respect as a professional football player and for the job that he does for us on the pitch. Let's make him feel welcome, let's make him feel comfortable. Not only that, for the other stadium attendees as well, such as your fellow fans, other black people who may be in the back room, the dressing room or other black people who work within the stadium. Not very pleasant for them, perhaps, maybe a little bit intimidating, and let's try and improve the reputation of our club going forward. This is my appeal to you as fellow Leeds United fans, and I really hope that you take my message on board today and that we try to adjust and amend and develop and improve our chant about Willy Gnonto, and let's hope that he can go on and do us a great job for the remainder of the season and keep us in the Premier League. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to watch another video, I'll put one up here or here, wherever there's most space.